Hi, this is Leslie, and this is Cookie Dough 101. If you've avoided making cutout cookies because it's too much work or too messy, then watch and learn as I show you some step-by-step directions for making cutout cookies perfectly without the mess, without the fuss. Tip number 1. Get all your ingredients lined up before you start. This will save you an extra trip to the grocery store. Have your butter softened at room temperature. Measure out your sugar. Measure out your flour. Make sure your baking powder is fresh. If you haven't used it for a while, it's time to get rid of it. You also need salt, an egg, a mixing bowl. Get your dry ingredients all mixed together and ready to go. Your salt and your baking powder, and then stir them together really well. Creaming your butter and sugar is an important step to making any good cookies. Make sure your butter is softened to room temperature. Put it in a bowl and add the sugar. A freestanding mixer is a good investment if you like to bake. If you don't have one, you can use a handheld mixer for this part. Cream your butter and sugar mixture for 3 to 4 minutes, stopping occasionally to scrape down the side. Once the butter and sugar are creamed, go ahead and add your egg. I like to put mine into a separate bowl to avoid getting eggshell into my mix. Then add your flavoring. In this case, I'm using vanilla. And mix it up again. Now it's time to add the flour to the butter mixture, which can be kind of a mess unless you use this trick. I like to put my flour, salt, and baking powder mixture out onto a piece of parchment paper. Then use the paper as a cone to get the flour into the bowl without a mess. Start your mixture and slowly add the dry ingredients. By adding the flour slowly, you make sure that the butter has time to absorb the flour and you don't end up with a crumbly mess. When all of the flour is absorbed into the butter, you'll have a nice soft dough. To roll out dough without the mess, put part of the dough on a sheet of parchment paper. Put another sheet of parchment paper on top, press it down just a little bit, and then roll. Look, no added flour, no extra mess. I like to roll my dough straight from the mixer before refrigerating it. It's nice and soft and rolls easily. Then I put the 2 sheets of parchment paper with the dough in between on a cookie sheet and refrigerate it. When I'm ready to cut, it'll be easy. When I have all my dough rolled, I can put it in the refrigerator and leave it for an hour, or even wrap it in saran wrap and leave it overnight. Now my perfectly rolled, no added flour dough is chilled and ready to cut. It cuts easily because it's nice and cool. Once I've cut all the cookies I can from that layer, I'll take those scraps, bring them back together, and let them come back up to room temperature. I'll re-roll them just the way I did at the beginning. Now my cookies are all rolled and ready to bake. And look, I've reused the parchment paper by putting it on my cookie sheet to keep it clean during baking. I hope this video has helped you see that making cutout cookies doesn't have to be difficult or messy. Just plan ahead, measure carefully, slowly add your flour to your butter mixture, and roll the dough while it's still wet, and then chill it. Happy cookie baking.